Hello mga kaguro! Please allow me to share to you the complete artifacts for LDM2 Practicum Portfolio for LAC leaders, with sample template, with sample MOBs, with sample annotations. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share with other teachers who serve as LAC leaders. This original PPT template is created by my beautiful colleague, no other than Miss Ila Joy B. Recobo. But the content inside, ako na po ang naglagay. It may not be perfect, but I hope it can help you in building your portfolio. Anyway, this is the cover page of my portfolio. Sa heading, you may indicate Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, Region, SDO, and District Office where you belong. This is the title of my portfolio. And then my name, itago nyo na lang po ako sa pangalang Teacher Mel. And then the name of my school head. Itago nyo lang po siya sa pangalang Juan de la Cruz. Next is the table of contents of my portfolio. You will see the name of artifacts here. And on the other side are the pages where you can find the specific MOBs or artifacts. This is the artifact 1, then the page, artifact 2, artifact 3, artifact 4, artifact 5, artifact 6, and artifact 7. This slide includes the title page of my portfolio. But prior to the title, there is heading. Next is the title, which is Learning Delivery Modality Course 2, Practicum Portfolio, Required Artifacts for LAC Leaders. The first LDM artifact is the MOB on providing technical assistance to colleagues about giving feedback to learners. You may include any performance monitoring or coaching form or photo documentation to show proof of coaching and mentoring colleagues about giving feedback to learners. In the annotation, highlight the strategies you shared with your colleague on providing feedback to learners' performance or output. For PPST strand, 5.3, Feedback to Improve Learning. In every slide for artifact, I included heading, page number, name of artifact, and PPST strand prior to the part where to insert the artifact or MOB. This is my photo documentation MOB. As you can see, hindi na po ako nag-annotate. Bakit po? Kasi po yung explanation on this MOB ay na-cover na po dito sa photo documentation. For the second LDM artifact is COT rating sheet. You may include photo documentation of the portions of the lesson plan about teaching strategies used by a colleague to respond to the needs of the learners in difficult circumstances. For PPST strand, 3.4, Learners in Difficult Circumstances. For this artifact, COT rating sheet, I included photo documentation of the portion of the lesson plan na ginamit po during the observation. Ito po yung COT rating sheet niya. And hinighlight ko po dito yung indicator 2 wherein it is congruent to the PPST strand. This slide shows the photo documentation of the portion of the LP of the teacher about teaching strategy she used to respond to the needs of the learners who are affected by COVID-19 pandemic. The third LDM artifact is MOB on providing feedback to colleagues on the development and use of learning resources, such as SLMs and activity sheets. You may include any performance monitoring or coaching form or photo documentation to show qualitative feedback to learning resources developed by colleagues. In the annotation, emphasize the advice you gave for them to properly select, organize, develop, and use the learning resource. For our PPST strand, 4.5, Teaching and Learning Resources, including ICT. For this artifact, I chose to insert the two photo documentations of the pre-observation I had with my colleagues. This is the first photo documentation of the pre-observation. I do not include annotation because the advice I gave is part of the photo documentation. This is the second photo documentation of the pre-observation I had with another colleague. Same in the first MOB, I do not include annotation because the advice I gave is already mentioned in the documentation. The fourth LDM artifact is the lesson plans. You may include 2 to 3 lesson plans from different quarters to show the improvements you made in creating them. In the annotation, highlight the part or the parts of the lesson plans in which you focused on during your learning sessions with colleagues. For our PPST strands, we have 4. For this artifact, I used the weekly home learning plans I made in the third and fourth quarters. This is the weekly home learning plan I made in the third quarter. I highlighted the SMART learning objectives I created. Then, I included annotation explaining where I learned to unpack the MELC or enabling competency and how it helps me. This is the day 1 of the weekly home learning plan for the fourth quarter. I put emphasis on the learning objectives I made. This is the second day of the weekly home learning plan. I also highlighted the learning objectives I created. Same here, I emphasized the objectives and then I included annotation. The fifth LDM artifact is MOBs on professional engagement with colleagues. You may include photo documentation of online synchronous LAC sessions, LDM-related LAC chats, faculty meetings, and in-service trainings. For our PPST strand, 7.3, Professional Links with Colleagues. My first MOB is the documentation report of synchronous LAC session. My second MOB is photo documentation of LDM-related LAC chat. My last MOB is the narrative report on in-service training. This picture contains the first 3 pages of the said narrative report. This picture contains the next 3 pages of the said narrative report. And these are the last 2 pages of the said narrative report. The sixth LDM artifact is the MOBs on engaging key stakeholders in the teaching-learning process. You may include photo documentation of conversations with parents or guardians through chat, text, or video conference. Parents dropping off modules at designated school boxes. Remember to blur names and photos of parents or guardians to protect their privacy. For our PPST strands, we have 5.4, Communication of Learner Needs, Progress, and Achievement to Key Stakeholders. 6.2, Engagement of Parents and the wider school community in the educative process. For this artifact, I included 2 photo documentations of my conversation with parent or guardian via video conference. This is my first MOB, and this is my second MOB. The last LDM artifact is the reflective summary. This reflective essay should answer the question, do you feel that this collection of work really reflects your abilities and what you have achieved this year through the LDM course? Why or why not? Your reflection should describe your personal experience in implementing distance LDMs. Show depth of analysis and synthesis of this experience, and relate it to professional standards and to your professional and personal development goals. For our PPST strand, 7.4, Professional Reflection and Learning to Improve Practice. This is where I will write my reflective summary. In my case, I am still working on it, that's why I am not able to show it to you. If this page is not enough for the reflective summary, add another slide. Thank you so much for watching.